And here we are, back to Realty. And I am here with the incredible Dan Malka.
Thank you.
And I'm Haley Videckis, and we're ready to kick this off.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So I originally talked to you about doing a podcast that merged the idea of real estate with marketing and advertising. Because right now I feel, not only for my business, I'm working with more realtors, brokerages. I think realtors can really appreciate a different perspective when it comes to branding and marketing. So you can think of how to step outside the box to really get your brand out there. And of course, you want to pick up more listings.
Absolutely, and I think it's great that we are doing it, and because first of all, you have a lot of qualities. You have a great voice, and you also have a great social media. You have more than 500,000 followers, and I think it's a great way to kind of merge our experiences in those fields and share different advices and tips for on my end for realtors and also into marketing.
I agree. And I personally have an appreciation for diversity and people who have come all the way from another country and created their own brand, paved their path. And you did that coming all the way from Paris. Paris, not just France.
No, Paris, France. Yes, because there is Paris also in the US, but yeah.
Yes, Paris, France.
But Paris, France.
That's
yes.
really cool. That differentiates you not only, I think, on the international market, being able to relate to different buyers, have that international eye of experience, but how has that been for you? Because you've told me from the jump that it was somewhat of an obstacle when it came to the communication, but I seem to understand you just fine.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm always, first of all, I moved from Paris almost 10 years ago now, in Los Angeles. So one-way ticket. I always pride myself on keeping my and carrying my French accent with me, because I think it's a plus when you move into a new country, and it's also part of my culture, and that's also what I want to bring on the table and differentiate myself from others.
Yeah, I do think it's a plus, and French is such a beautiful language.
Thank you.
It was the
Merci.
only merci beaucoup. It was the only language that I chose to learn when I was younger. We had to learn Japanese, French, or Spanish, and I chose French. But getting back into real estate, so you and I are kind of on the same timeline. We are not LA natives.
Oh, we are not?
Not at all. I'm from Chicago, and I came out here for college basketball about 10 years ago, and you came out here in 2015.
Exactly. May 9th, 2015.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is a little bit of an evolution of your journey that got you from coming to LA and into real estate? Like, did you have that moment where you knew this was the career path that you wanted to take?
So absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Like when I moved to LA 10 years ago, I had no idea that I would one day work in real estate and sell multi-million-dollar houses in Los Angeles. When I moved here, I had my production company from France, and I expanded my business here in Los Angeles. So I was directing and producing TV commercials, reality TV shows for US agencies and also French brands. And then in 2019, end of 2019, one of my great friends, his name is Johan Ben Simon, we had a chat, and he told me, look, I'm looking to expand my team at Keller Williams, Hollywood Hills. And he said, look, you speak well, you look good, maybe you have a potential to do something. And I say, you know what, it was like a downtime back then in the production for me. And I say, you know what, let me try. I always like to go out of my comfort zone, and I think that's something that the audience can relay on that. It's important to have enough strength and self-confidence to go out of your comfort zone, to be able to embrace a new journey. And that's what I did. And I started in January 2019, going in his office. I didn't know anything about real estate.
Wow.
Like I didn't know nothing about real estate in the US. And I started with a list of property owners and phone numbers, and I started doing cold calls, 6-7 hours.
Those cold calls.
Cold callings, exactly. Yeah, 6-7
That's
hours
tough.
a day, and I was able to close my first deal for after 45 days. So
That's
from
excellent.
from the moment I pick up the phone to the moment I close the deal, I did it in only 45 days, and it was a $2.5 million deal for
Wow.
like two true quadruplexes in East Hollywood that I was able to sell off market.
Yeah, I consider things like that is definitely a sign to keep going. You're on the right track.
Yes, absolutely. So I mean, from
And a little
that,
beginner's luck.
yeah, exactly. That was a
Yeah.
great beginning, and from this came another. I was continuing doing the cold calls and generate leads, and this is how I was able to sell parcels to developers and small apartment buildings as well in Hollywood. This is how I started.
So, and this is coming from me, someone who isn't licensed in real estate. However, I work with a lot of agents,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of in the game on the marketing side
Yeah.
because real estate's an art of storytelling and
It is.
leveraging your brand. You
Yep.
know, everything is digital now, so you have to understand it. But I'm curious, when you started at Keller Williams and you know, he handed you the list. Is that what they were teaching the other agents to do? Is this part of the practice of building up your clientele list and getting out there, or
It is. It is. It's still part of the process when you are a young agent.
Okay.
You have brokerage that provides you a lot of tools to be able to generate leads, and it falls into the fact that what's the split you're going to negotiate with the brokerage, because some brokerage they're going to tell you, okay, I'm giving you like all the tools, all the necessary tools to be able to generate leads, but on the other end, you have to give them probably up to 50% of the commission.
Right.
But they provide you everything. So even if at the beginning, when you're a new agent, you're getting like 50% only of the commission, and you have to give 50% to your brokerage, it's better than 80% of zero.
or 80% of what you can generate on your own. And I think they say you have to make so many calls, depending on what kind of industry you're in and what you're selling, of course. But it kind of comes down to a numbers game. Is if you make enough calls, you're going to close enough deals.
It's exactly the cold calling is a number game.
It's just statistically proven.
It
But
is,
not
it
everyone
is.
wants to do the work and sit on the phone for 8
No.
hours a day.
You have to be ready to get no, because you're going to get 99.9% of no, and then you have the slight chance to get a yes. And your skill and your ability to recognize when someone is interested when you do a cold call, that's what's going to make the difference with another agent.
Right.
And in my case, I think I had a pretty good skills at recognizing over the phone when someone would be interested. And basically, when you do a cold call, you just have, let's say, 10 to 15 seconds to catch the attention of the other part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you pretty much know from the beginning if you're going to get in the door or not, or if you can set that appointment.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. But you need to be ready to get 99% of no's and just continue going.
Yeah.
I think I was doing probably around like 300 to 400 calls a week.
Yeah. What was your mentality in that state? Because I don't know if you've only tried with the LA market, but did you ever feel that the LA market has a different vibe when it comes to cold calling? That people have a certain mentality. They don't want to talk. They feel that they're being sold to.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I only experienced the LA market, and that's not the most easiest market per se, because, LA, it's 10 million people. We have a population of 10 million people here living in LA, the greater younger area of LA. And so the competition is very, very hard.
It's fierce.
Exactly. And it's also, real estate is also a relationship business. But for what we were doing, meaning like selling lands for real estate developers or apartment buildings, the owners are more used to get, cold calls for their properties. And at the end, for me, it's like if someone is not interested, that's okay. You just have to move on to the next one, because there is so many piece of lands of real estate or like houses to be sold or apartment building to be sold in Los Angeles. Then if you keep going and if you are consistent, you can make it.
Yeah. No, that's so interesting. I guess right now, what would you say for agents is the biggest challenge when it comes to promoting your listings, getting new clients? What are you facing?
I think the biggest challenge today is definitely like the digital marketing and how you can make the difference on a social media platform and in the digital world, because the digital world is not only Instagram or TikTok. You have like a variety of options that you have to explore out there.
No, that's a really good point. So it's very much the art of storytelling in real estate and leveraging your social media and all digital platforms for success and figuring out how you can stand out, because we were talking a little bit how there are now influencers in real estate who agents are somewhat competing against and showing properties, getting attention, and being able to establish yourself as a professional within your industry, while also giving value and standing out that are not necessarily the things that you would do for your own job, right?
Exactly.
So you wanna catch people's attention by giving value, but it's like, where do you draw the line with how you can serve your communities? And are you doing it at a regional level? Are you hyper localizing it? And how do you want to connect authentically to the communities you want to serve?
So basically my vision is having a strong local knowledge with a global reach. So it's basically I want to know everything about West Hollywood, the West Side, Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, Brentwood, Westwood, and so on, in Malibu. And I want to be an expert in those areas, but I want to keep having a global reach. I think in today's market where we have less buyers because the interest rates are higher, so the pool of buyers is like less than it used to be, because money is more expensive and less people can afford buying houses. Hopefully, let's see how it's going to go now that the election passed. But as for now, the interest rates are still high, and with that being said, I always said that Los Angeles has its own like ecosystem, because a lot of transactions are made through people who already live in Los Angeles. They don't come to Los Angeles to buy assets, but even if it exists, but that's why the market of Los Angeles is still strong and the prices are not dropping like drastically compared to other like states. But I want to have this global approach and strategy, because in those type of in those days when the market is not as great as it used to be, it's important to know how to reach abroad, and try to find buyers overseas. Yeah.
And a lot of that does come down to digital marketing, because how else are you going to reach them if not?
I mean, yeah, there is different ways. I mean, I'm happy to work at Engel and Volkers, Beverly Hills, because this broker provides solutions that are tailored for agents like me who wants to have a global reach. And Engel and Volkers is more than 350 stores just in the US, and has a strong presence in Europe and in Dubai, London, Spain, Greece, just to name a few. And it's great to have also to be able to leverage those connections abroad to be able to bring potential buyers and show your listings to potential buyers that live abroad. And also at Engel and Volkers Beverly Hills, we also do have a print magazine
nice.
that is issued at almost 300,000 printed copies per quarter. And goes and is distributed into 35 countries. And translated into 6 languages. So this way we can have like a mix of offering between a print offering and a digital offering as well. And that's why I like to create, my strategy is to create also like digital marketing that will reach overseas. So for example, when I create lifestyle videos for my listings, I like to have a voiceover and create subtitles. I think it's very important on your videos to, as an agent, to create like subtitle and having a voiceover, because don't forget, like most of the people that are watching TV, they are not in front of their TV, but they can still listen what's going on the TV, So that's why I always think having a voiceover is a plus in your YouTube videos. And on the top of this, when you have subtitle, now with technologies like AI and ChatGPT and so on, you can use those subtitles and translate, the script into like 10, 13, 15 languages very easily, thanks to ChatGPT. And this way, when you create a YouTube advertising for your video and you go abroad and you want to target different and specific countries, you can have your video in those countries with the language with the subtitles of the language of the country. And that's something I do I have done for example, and I think it's also part of how you can have a better reach abroad.
Yeah, it's also, I think, important to market yourself and diversify the client base that you want to reach and appeal to, because you never know. I think you had mentioned that a lot of your listings do come from referrals. Yep. And so it is very relationship based.
It is.
But in order to connect with those clients, you have to have a streamlined system in order to do so and let them know what you have.
Absolutely.
I think, too, a lot of agents are undervaluing the power of, like you said, having videos where you have a voiceover. The more information that you can fit into a video online is going to gain you so much more traction based on AI and what is cycling on the internet, because people are going to be referred to your videos based on the content that you can fit into just one 30-second clip.
And I'm going to give you a secret, but keep it for you. You know that even with AI technologies today, if you don't have money to pay someone to do a voiceover, this is fine, because as of today, you can create voiceover with AI platforms.
Oh, of course. You can create your own person.
Yeah, you can create so basically you can use and leverage those tools when you start, and trust me, the results are sometimes impressive.
Yeah, no, a lot is happening with AI. And I think for agents, too, who are focusing on their craft and they're in their industry, it's important, if you aren't going to dive in full time to your marketing, into your media, you want to bring someone on your team who knows that for you and can make sure that you are on every platform, that you're capturing, everything part of your company, your listings, you're targeting the right places. And so I think it's an investment worth making for agents, because when people do want to look you up, see what you've done, I think social media is a place for you to fully show someone and display your aesthetic, your standards, your values, and how you operate.
I totally agree with what you say, and I think it's very important to know how you want to position yourself in this market compared to others, because especially in Los Angeles and in the high-end luxury real estate, the competition is very strong. So you need to come with ideas where you can make the difference. And I pride myself on maintaining, for example, a great website, because it's not just like a social. I wouldn't call it just a social media presence, but like, what is your digital presence? So the digital presence is contain like your website, your social media accounts, how you gonna promote your listings, how you gonna brand your listings, and also what the different tools you're using to leverage and present a listing. So it can be a direct mail as well, and a database that you work with, like prospects that you've been like working on over the years. That a database of real estate agents that you have also, and that you can send your listing directly, that that you built like over time. So it's really like more a digital presence that just focus on social media. Social media is a part of it, but it's not all of it.
Yeah, it's definitely not all of it.
Yeah.
I think, too, you want to be able to market yourself to the buyers, because they're entrusting their properties, multi-million-dollar properties, with you selling them. So if you're not a relatable person, you haven't done your due diligence as an agent, you don't understand your market, and you're not effectively even listing them online properly, why are they going to trust you with their own listings? Because that's time is money.
Time is money. And what I want to say also, it's something that I like to joke about, and I often say that I'm not in the real estate business. I'm in the relationship business. I build relationship because it's like I picked this up from the CEO of Rolls-Royce, the cars, and he one day was saying Rolls-Royce is not in the car business. They are in like relationship business.
Yes,
they are selling something else than just cars. And for me, I kind of liked it, and I want to apply it to the high-end real estate market in Los Angeles, because at the end of the day, at this level, you are dealing with billionaires. They want you first of all, they want you to be trustworthy, to do what you are telling them that you're going to do. And if they see that you're doing everything that you say you're doing, that's great, and that's what you should do, and that's how you have to build the trust with those people, because there is a lot of money that is involved. And when it comes to having this amount of money, they want to know that they can share sensitive information with your agent and so on. So that's very important, and that's why I like to say that I'm in a relationship business, because of course you need to know your market, you need to know where the house is located, like what's the impact on especially in LA, what's the impact on the traffic, what's the impact on the the school system, and the different shopping areas that are close by the house, and malls and so on. But it's also important to build a strong relationship. And most of my clients, they end up being my friends of course. After, and the good thing is, like, once you show that you're taking care of the listings and taking care of the house, and you get things done, then they are happy. And once you have one client who is happy, then it's the best advertising for the next client.
Yeah. Okay, I want to get into some of the glamour of this business.
Wow,
so I have some questions for you.
Yeah.
What would you say, just any listing that you have been a part of since you have gotten to LA, what is one of the most glamorous listings? Like, what was it like? What was the house like? Also, too, I think it's interesting to ask, these very high net worth individuals you're doing business with, they operate differently. You're probably getting on the phone with them less than 10 minutes. They don't have time to chit chat, unless you're hanging out on a personal level. They mean their business. So what is that relationship management like with these high net worth individuals?
So that's a great question, actually, and this is something that I've learned in my real estate journey, because when I started real estate, I didn't study into the high end. I didn't study in the high end luxury residential. So basically, even if they are my friends, we still have business hours, and so during business hours they are busy, and as you say, they don't have like time to spend like 30 minutes talking about their house. So you have to learn how to go like straight to the point, like what's the bottom line, and without any BS around the explanation and so on. And that's something I've learned because as French people, we like to give explanation and try to explain the point, and it's more like an American culture, I would say, to kind of try to go straight to the point and explain certain situation, like specific situations. But it's definitely something I've learned with my clients. And when you are at that level, you need to know how to summarize your ideas very fast to go to the bottom line, and that's fine, because at the end of the day, we don't forget that it's also business, and we have to put our emotions on the side and try to distance our emotion to our attachment that we can have with the house. Because even as an agent, sometimes I had like some great attachment to houses that I sold, because they are like a wonderful house, and but sometimes you need to know how to detach yourself from that.
Right. Keep it business. I definitely think that in America, we have a very business-oriented culture.
Yes.
Where many people focus their entire lives around their careers and success and achievement. So anything that seems as if it could be a distraction or too much information, people don't want to deal with it.
Exactly.
They're about the business.
Yeah.
House-wise, what's the best, most memorable house?
I mean, I had this great house in Brentwood. It's like a 20,000 square feet modern mansion that I had on the market for like $44 million 2 years ago. And that was, this house is like just like out of this world. You have like 70 feet infinity pool and spa. You have an indoor spa. You have like a sport simulator room. You have like a private garage for like to expose all your luxury cars, and a private lounge attached to it, like a theater and a private basketball court, a rooftop, even like a putting green, like a 3-hole putting green, so you have like all the amenities that you can dream of. So the house was on the market for $44 million. Unfortunately, I haven't sold it back then, and that's okay. I take it also as an experience. But what I want to share about this house, and also give some tips to our audience, is for example, when I had this house on the market, I reached out to a lot of medias, like
the interviews,
like a mainstream media. So I was like, where am I going to start with this? Because me as Dan Malka, I didn't work with like a PR company and so on, and I said, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go online, look at who writes article about high-end real estate houses, and I'm going to reach out directly to the journalist. And that's what I did. I did it with with Mention Global, with the Rob Report, and also with Ray Parisi at CNBC. Very, very cool guy.
I saw that interview.
Yeah, thank you. And that was great, because I reached out to him through LinkedIn, basically. So I saw like his articles on CNBC, and CNBC is, it's basically potentially where your buyer is, because this is the stock market, and the finance guys like to also invest in real estate. And I reached out to him, and I reached out to him through LinkedIn, and I sent him like a couple of messages. I sent him like like a press release about how great is this house and so on, and I was able to convince him to come to LA and cover the house and create and write an article about the house on CNBC, and that was fantastic because once the article was released, we got a prospect who came over, and we also did have an offer on the table after the
That's
the
incredible.
article. The offer didn't go through, but that's okay. It's part of the life.
Yeah.
But at least I, as a real estate agent, I consider I did my job marketing this house as much as I could to trigger the interest to a potential buyer. Because what I'm doing right now and my strategy is to be more, I would say, like a listing agent who represents sellers than a buyer's agent. And as a listing agent, what you want to do and when you create your marketing strategy is, what am I going to do as a listing agent to trigger and be able to bring prospects and potential buyers to come and take a look at the house,
Right.
So, and of course, digital is it's big today, but it's not only digital. There is also some trick and tips that I can give in the print world, because I think we were talking about and you were asking me the question like, are you still using the flyers and
Right.
like some print advertising. And to be honest with you, I still do use print advertising, but I do it I would say in a smart way, in a genuine way. For example, when I have like a $10 million listing that I'm trying to sell, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a targeted print strategy where I'm going to print out probably between 5 to 10,000 postcards, but those postcards are going to target high net worth individual that have assets worth than 10 plus million. So this way I'm going to target exactly who I want to target for this property.
And you make sure it goes right to the potential buyers that you want
Yeah,
it
exactly.
to serve.
And I did it for one of my listing, a beautiful villa that I sold in Santa Monica on the beach, a beach house, and we sent printed flyers, and we got, I think, 2 or 3 prospects who came over with this. So you have to today it's not like just sending flyers and just like cross fingers and see what's gonna happen. It's more about try to be smart and genuine about your approach and how you're gonna leverage as much as you can, and like use your dollar as much as you can for a return in your marketing.
No, that makes sense, because there are a lot of agents who spend tens and tens, thousands of dollars with agencies where they're just in a system and they're spending their money, but they're not tracking that data and they're not seeing if their return is coming back to them. And when they do have interest, they're not really sure where it's coming from because they're so spread out. So it's really interesting too, because a lot of people say that print isn't as effective, but in reality, when you're an agent, you want to have your listings, however many you have, go in front of potential buyers. So you want to streamline your approach and target where you're showing your listings and your company to those potential buyers, and make sure that you're doing your due diligence, that who they're being sent to, that research has been going in, you're making sure they can afford it, and all of that. So,
and also print, I mean, you'll be surprised, but print creates a better emotional attachment than the digital.
It does, and especially, and this is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite things, and this is why I am building the company that I'm building, because we have a streamlined approach in our print where we build that emotional attachment to the hyper-localized communities of individuals. So every single month, they're seeing their neighbors, they're seeing their community members, and they're saving these print magazines. And it's a very effective way for agents to position themselves in the communities of the buyers that they're trying to target. So I've really enjoyed doing this and stepping into my role as a publisher and being able to connect with those agents who understand marketing and are effectively taking the steps they need to market their listings.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what would you say is the biggest mistake that real estate agents are making in their marketing?
Mistake, the thing is, I always try to see the glass half full than half empty, and I like to push people to be better and do the things better. So I wanted to say what they do bad, but I want to give clues and tips for agents to improve their presentation. I think presentation is everything. That's why I pride myself on keeping an updated and nicely done website and professional Instagram profile as well. The first issue is photo quality and video quality. If your property doesn't look good on picture, don't expect to get the best price for it. That's very important. Because in photos and in videos as well, because as we know, most of the first approach today is going to be probably digital, and everything is digital. You go on those platforms, Zillow and Redfin and apartment.coms and so on, the MLS where you post your listing. But if the photos doesn't look good, you're not going to attract the right audience. And this is also a very important point when it comes to staging, because sometimes, you can have the best photographer, but if the house looks like shit, excuse my French, you're not going to get the best price for it,
Yeah.
So this is very important to also convince your client to spend a little bit of money in restaging your house and restaging the house to make the house look much better than just leave the house like this and expect the best price. I had an example, like a recent example. I was leasing this house in West Hollywood, a very nice, very cute Spanish style villa with a house with like 3 bedrooms, like 1,500 square feet, a beautiful backyard, 6,000 square feet of land. But before I took the listing, all the furniture and the house looked very, very off, very old, or like the furniture definitely didn't belong to this house. So we decided with the owner to basically get rid of all the furniture and replace all the furniture with and work with a staging company to make the house looks way better, repainting the walls and so on. And with this strategy, I brought a great photographer. We had great photos and videos. I was able to create brochures, YouTube advertising, and so on. And the house was on the market for $10,000 a month for lease, and I was able to get to this price pretty quickly in like 2 months on the market, something like this.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
No, I think that's really much tapping into the buyer's journey and how they experience the house, because even digitally, you gain an emotional attachment to how a home can make you feel and what it looks like. And there is something to say about the quality of how you present it that the buyer is going to take and have that initial impression on your property.
The initial impression is the most important. It's like you go in a meeting into an interview for a job, It's the same thing. The first impression is the most important one.
Yeah.
So when someone walks into one of my listings, I want this person to feel that they can project themselves living into this house.
Oh, yeah, I do this all the time. I'll go online and I will look at the homes that I'm eventually going to live in, and I have a whole experience. I've done this frequently, but you really develop an emotional attachment of being there based on the photos that you see. So I get that.
It is. No, it really is. And that's why it's very important. Also, another advice I want to give to agent that works with potential buyers or potential tenants is to listen carefully to their clients, because I often say that the demon is hidden in the details on what your client's is telling you, he or she's telling you. And so, for example, when you have a client telling you, "Yeah, I want to rent a house for," and you talk with your client, what's your price range, what's your budget, which area, and so on. As an agent, be open. Don't just stop to what the client says. For example, if your client is telling you, "I want to live in Encino, and I want to buy a house that is up to $3 million." Okay? Mm-hmm. Especially in today's market, stay in the area of Encino, but widen the range of the price range. So go up to $3.5 million, because you never know, if maybe you have a listing at $3.5 million, you can negotiate and close the deal at $3 million. So that's number one. Widen the range widen the scope of the price range. And number two, you'll be surprised, but sometimes you can find a great deal not in the city or the area that your client wanted, but in the area that can be next door. Because it happened that I've heard some stories where someone, like a client, wanted absolutely to be, buy a house in Encino, and then they end up buying a house in Sherman Oaks that is just next door.
You got to really show them what they actually want.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why, as an agent, you also, I like the term advisor, because I consider myself as an advisor, of course as an agent, because I have my license, but as an advisor because I like to advise my clients based on my knowledge. And that's why it's important to also help your clients to kind of go out of what they think they want, and show them that they can also get something maybe better in an area that is close by. So listen to your clients carefully, but also as an agent, try to find ways to widen the scope and be open on other options, and be open on submitting other options to your client.
I like that a lot, because you are the expert. And your client's experience doesn't end at the sale. It's the beginning of your next referral.
It's the beginning of the next referral for sure, and it's the beginning of a journey with your client too. Because when your client buys a house, I like to stay involved and make sure the move-in is okay, and the life inside the house is good. And if they also need, when you move into a house, you need a handyman, you need to fix, the gardener, and everything. And I like to also provide my network of contractors that can help with my clients, that can help them for their home. So it's also a part of the service that I like to give to my clients. I'm not just here to close the deal, but I'm here to also follow with them their journey and help them in their journey with their house.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. You're selling yourself right now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really important. You want to provide full service, white glove delivery, because
it is, yes.
Yeah, it's a life change.
It is, and it's more like what we call a boutique approach. And lately in Los Angeles, that in the past 5 years, that's definitely a trend that I've seen happening when it comes to a brokerage, because we've seen many brokerage, I would say mainstream brokerage, Keller Williams, Douglas Elliman, Compass, being with like top agents, and those top agents left those mainstream brokerage to create their own boutique
Right.
broker. And there is one brokerage called, for example, Carrollwood or the Beverly Hills Estate that I also follow, and I know some agents working there, and I kind of like also their approach, because they have this more like boutique approach about their clients. And my goal, and I guess also their goal, is to not having like tens of thousands of listings per agent, but have like few listings per agent, but at least each agent takes care of those listings. And that's also my strategy. I rather have like only 2 or 3 listings that I know I'm going to work on it every single day, and I'm going to bring something to my clients and report something to my clients every week on those listings, than having like 50 listings and just wait on which one's going to sell.
Yeah, I think that's important too, because then you're more intimately involved. You're bringing more value. When you're building relationships with your clients and prospective buyers, you don't know what that's going to turn into 5 years down the line.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so I think, when you're tracking your marketing data, you are not leaving money on the table.
No, you're definitely not leaving, but you need to have also a strong tools for analytics. So Google Analytics, for example, it's very good to track the activity on your website. Instagram is great as well, because they give you a good insight when you do, like a marketing campaign for your post or for your reels. So that's also something that you have to show also to your clients. On the MLS, you can have reports regarding the views or impression of your listing on different platforms, like either Zillow, Trulia, MLS itself, and the more data you share with your clients, and I think the more your clients gonna see that you are involved and you're trying hard to sell their property, because in a tough market, and I think it's also why we wanted to call this podcast Back to Realty. It's kind of it's kind of sound like back to reality.
He just said it sound like reality twice.
Yeah, exactly. Back to reality.
Back to reality. Back to realty.
Yeah, and because today is the real estate market is harder than he used to be. Like in 2021, interest rates were at like 2.5%, 3%. The Bitcoin was like super up. Even if today the Bitcoin is pretty great right now. But what I was seeing in 2021 is literally like houses selling for $1 million over asking,
Right.
in Los Feliz or in Hollywood, West Hollywood, and
you
so
get
on.
into bidding wars.
Yeah, bidding
and
wars,
more
like 25 offers, 30 offers in like 1 week, and so on. In today, that like barely exists unless you put a $500,000 house in Santa Monica on the market, But with that being said, you have to really like show that you're working and you're spending money for the marketing, and to show that you're taking actions to show and have your listing out there. Yeah.
That's amazing. So do you think you're going to pick up any listings overseas anytime soon?
I mean, not listing over. My goal is not to pick listing overseas, but I rather have buyers from overseas coming in LA and buy in Los Angeles. And I can share an experience, for example, because one of my clients is a famous artist from France, and he moved to Los Angeles. When was it? In April. Since April, and I found him a beautiful house in Hollywood Hills on Sunset Plaza.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I cannot disclose the name, but a very famous artist in France. And so I worked with him and his manager. They came in LA last year for like a week, and they wanted to explore different options and houses. So I was able to spend the day with them, and because they weren't that familiar with Los Angeles and West Hollywood and Hollywood Hills, and to understand, the different type of asset and the different also areas, and where you have Melrose, the coffee, where you can have like a bakery or like a coffee shop, and
Yeah.
and those type of stuff, and like the access, the traffic, and so on. And I was able to get to negotiate a great deal as well for them, and they ended up renting out a house for like more than $22,000 a month.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a win.
Yeah, that's great, and my client is super happy. The house is fantastic for him, and I think this is a great house. And the funny backstory regarding this client is a client that was referred to me from France, because they saw me on TV in France showing one of my listing.
Oh, wow. You guys have broadcast in France.
Yeah, I was able to bring a French TV network.
Look at that.
To cover one of my listing, and the manager of the artist saw me on TV, and reached out to me and say, hey, I have my artist coming in LA. Are you able to show them a couple of houses, because they wanna rent out houses,
That's amazing.
a house in LA.
You
So
know,
you see like how leveraging your network, leveraging the social media, knock on the door of media and entertainment and networks can work. And don't be shy. Just do it. You never know. If I've learned something in this world and in this business, it's always free to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, I think, is a testament to the power of investing in your marketing, because you never know where it's going to lead. And so many people see you nowadays. You're tapped in when you put something on social media, you put something on television,
TikTok. And,
and it's just like putting in those cold calls. You don't know who's going to pick up the phone and where they're going to be in their level of interest to purchase.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Well, I'm pretty amazed just to hear more about your story and your knowledge of real estate, and kind of how you stay motivated and focused and carrying out all these tasks that you have.
Yeah, I think it's important to stay focused, and it's also important to think about the next step. What's next? It's like, what's the next step? Where I want to go? Where I see myself in the next 5 years, and so on. Right now, I'm very happy with my brokerage, because they are very supportive. It's a great team that we have in Beverly Hills. It's still a boutique, because I think we have like 35, 40 agents, and I'm fine with that. I like this approach, and I really do believe in the global reach, because in today's market, especially for the high-end residential, luxury residential market, I think we have and agents have to learn how to find their next buyer a little bit after Los Angeles, and go like more into even like New York, Miami, Dallas, and also abroad. Go explore Switzerland, France, Spain, Greece, Dubai, the Emirates as well, and also go in Asia with Hong Kong and China. So this is you have to be able to be open to the world, and have a global vision, and also leverage. If you work for a brokerage like Engel and Volkers, that has a strong presence, abroad, use this office and those shops, and reach out to those shops to be able to promote your listings when you have great listings to share.
Yes, global approach, global vision, and global marketing.
And local expertise.
Yes, I love that. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Dan.
That was
great.
Been a
pleasure.
That was great. I think we should do another episode soon.
I think we definitely should. And next time we'll touch more on all these topics and kind of get into it.
Yeah.
And we do need to get into the greed scale next time.
Yes, we do need.
We are going
the greed
to
and
pick.
Fear. Yes,
we are going to pick out a property or two.
That's a good.
And we're going to be rating them based on the greed factor.
Yep.
And that's just essentially rating some of these crazy, outrageous homes you see in LA and where you think with their real estate expertise that they fall onto the scale.
I totally agree. And I think this is something that is very LA, you know.
It's so funny, though. It's like what we live for being out here.
Yeah,
What's going to hit the market next?
Exactly. And then you see those houses asking like crazy prices, like 80 million, 100 million, and then they end up selling for like
half of
30,
it.
yeah, half of it, like
Yeah.
30 or 40 mil.
Yeah.
You know, it's also a numbers game.
It's a gamble.
Yeah.
Well, if you have enjoyed this episode today, share it, like it, follow, subscribe,
Yeah.
and we'll be back soon.
We'll see you for the next one.